coming today. We appreciate it. My name is Jim Lyons. I'm a state representative from Andover, and I'm here with Representative Marc Lombardo from Bristol, Representative Shaunna O'Connell from Conf, Representative Geoff Diehl from Whitman, and Sheriff Tom Hodgson, and also Representative Joe McKenna. Joe, where are you? Webster. Thank you very much. So first of all, as I said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. And the reason that we're here today is because, as everyone knows, the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts came down with a ruling several days ago which prevents local law enforcement officials from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. And what we'd like to do is go over the bill just for a minute so everybody understands. I'll go over the ruling for a minute so everyone understands exactly what took place. So according to the state Supreme Court, the reason that this ruling came down was no single party who filed an amicus brief was able to cite a Massachusetts statute that authorizes a Massachusetts police officer or court officer directly or indirectly to arrest in circumstances based on a federal civil immigration detainer. Simply put, the SJC said there is no statute in Massachusetts that allows that. However, in part of the rulings and arguments that was made, the United States asked us to hold that officers in Massachusetts have inherent authority. So that's what the Massachusetts amicus brief asked them to do. And what they referred to is to carry out the detention requests made in a federal civil immigration detainers, essentially to make arrests for federal civil immigration matters. And they relied on a case called Santana versus Garcia. And it specifically states that state and local police officers have implicit authority to investigate and arrest for civil violations of federal immigration law and criminal violations, absent any law to the contrary. So what's clear in this ruling is there is no law on the books per the SJC, and there is also federal law that appears to override the authority. Further in the ruling it states, the prudent course is not for this court to create an attempt to define some new authority for court officers to arrest in heretofore that has been unrecognized and undefined. The better course is for us to defer to the legislature to establish and carefully define that authority if the legislature wishes that to be the law of this Commonwealth. And that's why we're here today, because clearly our communities want to make sure that public safety has all of the tools.
What communities? Keep hate out of our state. 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 Keep hate out of our state.
Folks, I appreciate the fact that you came. I'm not going to interrupt you.
We're also part of
Please
this community.
do not interrupt
We're
me.
listening, but we're also
Thank you
part
very
of the
much.
community. We're going to
Thank
continue
you.
listening, but we're also part of the community.
Please,
the
ma'am.
immigrant community is also part
You
of the
can ask any questions you have
We
after
will
I'm
start. Thank you
finished.
so much.
After I'm finished. Please, be respectful. I will be
I am
respectful.
being respectful.
You're
but you're not being
interfering.
respectful with the immigrant
You are
community.
interfering with our press conference, which we're going to do in a very specific manner.
I'm listening. I'm going to listen. But if you say racist
Thank you
stuff
very much.
against our community, we're going
What
to
does the bill do? What does the bill do? It specifically gives authority to our local police officers to enforce federal law. The people of Massachusetts deserve to have their communities safe, and we believe that this is incumbent upon us as a legislature.
All people in
And
Massachusetts,
as a matter of fact, one of the things that we're requesting is that the Democratic Party in Massachusetts understand that this public safety is one of the responsibilities of local authorities. That is one of our first and ultimate responsibilities. The Democratic Party in Massachusetts is able to get things done quickly. Every day that they refuse to address the underlying safety of our communities, they are putting our citizens at risk. In January of this year, the legislature, under the direction of Speaker DeLeo and Speaker Rosenberg, in less than 48 hours, pushed through a 55% pay increase. What we are demanding is that this legislature look at this bill and determine that the public safety of Massachusetts citizens is paramount, and we would urge them to pass this legislation. I'm now going to turn this over to the sheriff, and the sheriff is going to have some comments.
Keep hate out of our state. Keep hate out of our state. Keep hate out of our state.
Sheriff, you ready? There you go. We're going to ask everyone not to ask any questions until all of the speakers have spoke, and we respectfully request that you not interrupt our press conference. You have plenty of time afterwards to speak. Thank you, Sheriff.
Keep hate out of our state. I hear you. Keep hate out of our state.
Good morning. Before I offer my remarks, let me just remind you and the other protesters who are here that the First Amendment affords every one of us the opportunity to be heard, not to be interrupted. You have your forum to speak, but do not interrupt our constitutional right to express.
Do not violate
excuse me,
basic human rights of
this is
citizens.
exactly what I'm
That's
talking
why
about.
that's
Well,
why
you
I'm
can express
here.
that after we're
That's
done.
why I'm here, because you're criminalizing the
Ma'am.
immigrant community. You haven't criminalized the immigrant community.
Ma'am, if you can't honor our
for years.
constitutional rights, then we...
Excuse me, you are the one who is not honoring the U.S.
Good morning.
Constitution.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to start this morning by thanking the members of the legislature who I'm partnering with to draft and file this bill that will restore law enforcement's right to collaborate with our federal partners in our shared mission to keep the citizens and the legal residents of the Commonwealth safe.
Are we residents of
as
the
you know-
Commonwealth? Are immigrants part of this Commonwealth? Yes.
As you know, this week the SJC came down with a decision that forbids local and state law enforcement, including court officers, from holding an illegal immigrant on an ICE detainee. Since when in the United States of America do we need to give the state of Massachusetts, or any other state for that matter, permission to cooperate with the federal government to hold someone who has violated our laws and has no legal status to be in the United States? And there is legal precedent in this country to support ICE detainers. We know of two recent New York Supreme Court decisions where it has been upheld that law enforcement has the right to hold someone on an ICE detainer because detainers are, quote, justifiably means of cooperation. My goodness, how many more families have to lose loved ones because courts and or government officials continue to look for obstacles to prevent law enforcement agencies from working with one another to keep the public safe? I want to just tell you two quick, very important examples that underscore the importance of this legislation. I want you to imagine that the attacks on the World Trade Center have not yet happened. Yet.
Are immigrants responsible for that? Keep hate out of our state. Hate out of our state. Hate out of our state. Stop lying. Keep hate out of our state.
A trooper driving up 95 from Maryland stops one or two of these terrorists, runs them through the computer, and a hit comes back and says ICE has an interest in these individuals to hold them because they have some information these individuals may be associated with some other people who may be looking to do harm to the legal residents and the citizens of our country. Under this Supreme Court ruling, the SJC ruling, those officers would not be allowed to hold those people on the ICE detainer. Think about this. They're released, and close to 3,000 people are about ready to be murdered by those
He's saying
individuals.
that all of us are criminals. Is that right? No! Criminals? Criminals? All of them? No! Keep hate out of our state! Keep hate out of our state!
And I would like to also share with you one other compelling situation that just happened recently. A Washington state trooper. In the state of Washington, which is a sanctuary state, was called to respond to an accident scene. He arrived on the scene, ran both driver's licenses. One of them came back and said, this driver has been convicted of a serious felony. He's been deported. Contact ICE. The trooper contacted ICE. ICE said, we'll be there in 5 minutes. They arrived at the scene, arrested the individual, and took him in for deportation proceedings. When the officer arrived at work the next morning, the trooper, he was informed by his supervisor he was under investigation for notifying ICE. Think about that. So this trooper had one of two choices when he got this call. Arrive on scene, got the information to contact ICE, uphold his oath and his promise to the people that he would do everything he could to protect them, and contacted ICE. Or ignore the notification to contact ICE, commit a felony under Title 8, Section 1324, and let the person go off into the sunset, committing a felony under federal law. So the officer had, as I said, two choices. One, do your job, uphold your oath, and be disciplined, or commit a felony and undermine the oath that you took to the people. Those were his two choices. Ladies and gentlemen,
Keep hate
this is not
out of our state! Keep hate out of our state! Keep hate out of our state!
This is not the America that our forefathers created for us.
No,
We are a country of laws.
It's not based on hate.
Ma'am, I'm not going to ask you again to stop interrupting me while I'm giving my statement.
I'm not going to ask you again. You have to stop criminalizing the internet.
Ma'am, you're going to be removed. You're going to be
You
removed.
have the right to be here. You don't have the right to.
I have the right to be here.
But you're interrupting
I have
his
the-
press
I have the
conference.
right to be here, Tom, and you know that.
I do know
They
that.
know that too.
They do.
So what-
Why are you interrupting? Let them make their statement. Let them make their comments. Let them finish their comments. I do understand it. I'm just telling
You're
you.
interrupting my work too.
No, this isn't your
Yes, you
work.
are. Of course, I'm defending the rights of people that they are having criminalizing for years.
Ma'am, this is
And
not-
we're tired. We're tired of you criminalizing our communities just because we are
Ma'am, if you wanna have a
brown.
press
Just
conference
because we are
afterwards,
people
by all
of color. And we
all
are
means.
tired. You're
Anyhow,
saying
let's
that all
respect.
of us are criminals.
Anyhow,
That's
we
what
are.
you're saying.
I'm going to finish my statement.
Give us the data. Give us the numbers.
I think I have made clear the two examples that most Americans and legal residents who have come here the right way clearly understand. We are not going to send a message to people that when you follow the laws in the United States of America, you respect the laws and wait your turn and come here legally, that somehow you're a fool, that you should sneak in, ignore our laws, and that it's okay. We are not going to create a special class of people in America that are going to be forgiven or being accountable for our laws. I want to thank Representative Lyons for spearheading this legislative initiative, along with Representatives O'Connell and Lombardo Diehl and Representative McKenna, and the other representatives who have and will sign on to sponsor this important bill that will make sure all levels of law enforcement in Massachusetts maximize every tool available, including holding illegal immigrants on all ICE detainers to ensure public safety. The fundamental responsibility of government is to keep our citizens and legal residents in our nation safe.
Keep hate
This
out of our state.
This bill will guarantee that when ICE has expressed an interest in having someone being detained by local law enforcement, they will not be released back into the community where they may pose a threat or repeat the hardships we've seen time and time again in this country. This bill sends a clear message that Massachusetts is no longer a safe haven for people who violate our laws by entering our country illegally, and will serve instead to honor the rule of law and those who have continued to, and honor those who have and continue to respect our laws by following the legal immigration process to receive their citizenship. Thank you very, very much.
Give hate out of our state. Give hate out of our state. Give hate out of our state.
Thank you, Sheriff. Representative Lombardo will speak next. Representative Lombardo, thank you.
Thank you, Representative. My name is Marc Lombardo, State Representative from the town of Billerica. You know, this week was it was an unusual week for me. I found myself agreeing with Somerville Mayor Joe Curtoni. And our agreement was on this. As a result of the SJC ruling, we both agree that Massachusetts is now a sanctuary state. And I believe this is absolutely the wrong rule, but absolutely the wrong direction for Massachusetts. So I'm happy to sponsor this legislation to take any ambiguity out of the ruling and the laws within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my family, because I see signs here that say, I support immigrants. I'm a third-generation American. My grandparents, my great-grandparents came over on Ellis Island from Italy, and they followed the laws of the land to come into America legally. I support legal immigration. My colleagues support legal immigration. What we don't support is the breaking of our federal immigration laws. And we believe it's simply flies in the face of common sense.
Give hate
Not allowing
out of our
local
state. I can't hear you. Give hate out of our state. Give ignorance out of our state.
The irony, keep ignorance out.
Yes,
you
you
can't
are
even
very
have basic
ignorant about
respect
the US
for somebody who disagrees with you.
You
And,
are
you know,
very ignorant
this is very
about the US
common.
immigration system.
Very
It's-
common
It's
with
very
people
things
out.
that you don't know. You have no
Not
idea
to-
about how the immigration system is right now and how your family migrated to the US years ago, decades ago, was very different.
Yes.
I hope you can
You're right,
read
it was
a little bit
different.
more
You're
about
right,
your
ma'am,
own
you are
law.
absolutely
You
right,
should
it was
be-
different
you should be
because my
reading.
family
You should
followed
be
the laws
reading
of the
it
land.
before. The
And I
law
appreciate
hasn't
that that may not be your
changed. The law
position.
hasn't changed.
That's the position
It's
that
a
you take.
shame that you as a policy makers don't know there are immigration laws in the US. It's very a shame.
Thank you very much,
Shame of you.
Representative.
Give hate
Once
out
again-
of our state. Hate out of our state.
Once again, folks, we appreciate everyone here that's being respectful and understanding